The diplomatic deception. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Coalition sparkled like a jewel among the stars, its crystalline dome capturing and refracting the light of 1,000 distant suns. Representatives from over 300 species filled the chamber, their voices a symphony of clicks, rumbles, and melodic tones as they discussed what could be the most important peace accord in 10 millennia. The Meridian Empire had finally agreed to cease hostilities after centuries of brutal expansion. Ambassador Ilara Chen stood at the edge of the gathering, the lone human representative among the alien dignitaries. At 36, she had spent half her life negotiating humanity's place among the stars. Earth had joined the coalition late, barely a century ago, and was still viewed as the upstart newcomer, tolerated for their ingenuity, but rarely consulted on matters of galactic importance. Quite the spectacle, isn't it, Ambassador? The voice beside her was like gravel sliding through silk. Ilara turned to face Supreme Commander Kellex, the 8-foot reptilian leader of the Coalition's unified defense forces. His scaled skin shimmered with iridescent blues and greens beneath the ceremonial armor that had witnessed 100 battles. Indeed, Commander. Though I can't help but wonder why the Meridians chose now to seek peace, Ilara replied, her dark eyes scanning the crowd for the distinctive silver-skinned delegates from the Empire. Kelex's mouth twisted into what passed for a smile among his kind. You humans, and your suspicions, always looking for traps where there are none. The Meridians have lost 3 major systems in the past cycle. Their resources are depleted. Even Emperor Vex must eventually bow to reality. Ilara nodded politely but remained unconvinced. During her briefings, the intelligence reports had shown the Meridian forces retreating to their core systems. Yes, but there had been no signs of resource depletion or supply chain disruptions. Something didn't add up. Perhaps, she conceded, but I would feel better if Earth's battle group had been allowed to attend this summit. Kellex let out a dismissive snort. Your ships are impressive for such a young species, but the Meridians insisted on minimal military presence. Only my flagship and 2 escorts are permitted in the system. The rest of the Coalition fleet waits at the jump point, as do the Meridian vessels. This is how peace is made, Ambassador. Before Ilara could respond, a hush fell over the hall. Emperor Vex himself was making his entrance, flanked by his silver-armored guard. Standing nearly 7 feet tall with skin like polished mercury and eyes that glowed with an internal amber light, the Meridian ruler commanded attention simply by existing. Representatives of the Galactic Coalition, Vex's voice resonated through the chamber without any apparent amplification. Today marks the end of centuries of misunderstanding between our peoples. Ilara watched as the Coalition representatives leaned forward, eager to hear the Emperor's words. Only she noticed the subtle hand gesture Vex made to his guards, or the way they slowly repositioned themselves throughout the hall. As the Emperor continued his speech about unity and shared prosperity, Ilara discreetly activated her neural implant, a technology the Coalition species found primitive compared to their natural telepathic abilities. She sent an encrypted burst transmission to Earth Command. Possible hostile, int. Stand DDY for emergency protog. The response was immediate. ACK nanododiolodi, GED. Woikichi fuel INJG'd. Satisfied that at least Earth was on alert, Ilara returned her attention to the Emperor's speech. And so, to demonstrate our commitment to lasting peace, we have brought a gift, Vex was saying, his amber eyes scanning the crowd. For too long, the Meridian Empire has been viewed as warmongers, conquerors without conscience. Today, we reveal our true purpose. A holographic projection materialized above the Emperor's head, a massive spherical structure with a honeycomb surface. The stellar cradle, Vex announced proudly. For centuries, our scientists have worked to create a device capable of rejuvenating dying stars. This technology will ensure no species need ever fight over habitable worlds again. Gasps of wonder filled the hall. Even Kellex seemed impressed, his scaled brow raising slightly. "This is why you conquered those systems?" the commander asked. "To build this." Vex nodded solemnly. "Resources were needed. Methods were harsh. For this, we seek atonement through sharing our creation with all." The Emperor gestured, and the hologram expanded to show the stellar cradle in operation, its honeycomb surface glowing as energy flowed into the core of a dim red star, which gradually brightened to yellow brilliance. Ilara's implant buzzed with another message from Earth Command. "Analisa is, INDICATE is, DEIC is weapon, not TERRAFO or MLING2O. Energy output conversion inconsistent with stated purpose." She frowned, studying the hologram more carefully now. The technical specifications scrolling alongside the image were written in the standard galactic script, but something about the energy flow diagram struck her as familiar, reminiscent of theoretical weapons research she'd reviewed during her time with Earth's Defense Ministry. "Emperor Vex," Ilara spoke up, her clear voice cutting through the murmurs of admiration. "Earth would be honored to assist with implementing this technology. Our stellar physicists have considerable experience with solar manipulation. Perhaps we could examine the technical specifications more closely." For just a moment, Vex's composure slipped. His glowing eyes narrowed, and his silver skin rippled with what Ilara recognized as annoyance. "That won't be necessary, Ambassador Chen," he replied smoothly. "The cradle is operational and already deployed to the Centauri Nexus, where Coalition scientists are welcome to observe its first official demonstration." The Centauri Nexus, a strategic crossroads of 7 major jump lanes that connected Earth's sector to the rest of Coalition space. Alarm bells rang in Ilara's mind. "Commander Kalex," she turned to the reptilian officer, keeping her voice deliberately calm. "Isn't the Centauri Nexus where the Coalition's 3rd Fleet is currently stationed?" Kalex nodded slowly, realization dawning in his ancient eyes. "Indeed, nearly 40% of our combat vessels are there, undergoing routine maintenance and crew rotation." Ilara turned back to face the Emperor, whose amber eyes now burned with unmistakable menace. "This isn't a peace conference," she stated flatly. "It's a distraction." Vex's mouth curved into a predatory smile. "Clever human. Too clever by half." He raised his hand, and his guards drew their weapons in perfect unison. But too late. The hall erupted into chaos. Coalition representatives scrambled for cover as Meridian guards began herding them into groups. Kalex roared in fury, his ceremonial armor suddenly revealing itself to be quite functional as weapon ports opened along its surface. "What have you done?" the commander demanded. "The stellar cradle is indeed operational," Vex replied calmly as his guards surrounded him protectively. "But Ambassador Chen is correct about its true purpose. In approximately 3 minutes, it will not rejuvenate the Centauri star, but rather trigger a hypernova event that will destroy the Nexus and every Coalition vessel stationed there." Horror spread across Kalex's reptilian features. "You would sacrifice an entire system just to cripple our fleet. The weak perish, so the strong may thrive," Vex stated, as if reciting a sacred text. "With your fleet decimated, the remaining Coalition worlds will fall to us within a standard year." He turned his glowing gaze to Ilara. "Even Earth with its quaint projectile weapons and fission drives." Ilara's hand moved to her communicator, but a Meridian guard's weapon was already trained on her. "Earth is farther from helpless than you imagine, Emperor," she said defiantly. "Is it?" Vex seemed genuinely curious. "Your kind joined the galactic community barely a century ago. While impressive for such rapid advancement, your technology remains centuries behind the Meridian standard. What could Earth possibly do against an armada that has conquered 1,000 worlds?" Instead of answering, Ilara lunged forward with surprising speed. The guard fired, but she had already dropped into a roll, coming up beneath his weapon arm. A quick strike to his throat sent the silver-skinned alien stumbling backward as she grabbed his weapon. "Commander," she shouted, tossing the weapon to Calyx before diving behind a decorative column as return fire from the other guards filled the air. Calyx caught the weapon one-handed and immediately began returning fire, his massive form providing cover for several coalition diplomats trying to reach the emergency exits. "We need to warn the Third Fleet," Calyx shouted over the weapon's fire. "Working on it," Ilara replied, her fingers flying over her neural implants interface. "Earth Command, Emergency Override Alpha 7 Tango. Direct link to Coalition Third Fleet. Transmit all sensor data on Meridian device at Centauri Nexus. Designate as immediate threat." "Transmitting," came the response. "But QUANTUM interference, DETCTED at NAXUS. Communications being blocked." Ilara cursed under her breath. The Meridians had thought of everything. Without warning, the entire chamber shuddered violently, sending diplomats and guards alike sprawling across the polished floor. "What was that?" Calyx demanded, using the momentary confusion to dispatch 2 more Meridian guards with precise shots. "The Meridian Fleet," Vex announced, still calm despite the chaos surrounding him. "While we negotiated peace, they moved into position. Your escort vessels have already been destroyed, Commander. This station will be next." As if to emphasize his point, another explosion rocked the station, this one closer and more violent. Emergency alarms blared through the chamber as atmospheric integrity warnings flashed across the environmental displays. "You won't escape this either, Vex," Calyx growled, his weapon trained on the Emperor. "A necessary sacrifice," Vex replied serenely. "My consciousness has already been uploaded to our central matrix. This body is merely a vessel, replaceable like all physical forms." Ilara saw her opportunity amidst the confusion. She sprinted across the chamber, dodging weapons fire, and reached the central communications array. Her fingers flew across the alien interface, bypassing security protocols using overrides she had memorized, but never expected to need. "What are you doing, human?" Vex called out, genuine curiosity in his voice. "What humanity does best," Ilara replied without looking up. "Adapting." With a final command sequence, she activated the station's emergency quantum transmitter, a device designed to cut through any interference. The energy requirements were enormous, typically requiring the station's entire power reserve, but Ilara didn't need it to last long. "Earth Command," she spoke clearly into the transmitter. "Meridian betrayal confirmed. Stellar Cradle is super weapon targeting Centauri Nexus. Coalition station under attack. Implement Protocol Midnight. Authorization Chen Omega 57. For a moment, silence filled the chamber as both Coalition members and Meridian guards paused to process her words. Then Vex began to laugh. "Protocol Midnight. Is that meant to frighten me, Ambassador? What could Earth possibly have prepared that would matter now?" Ilara stepped away from the console, a grim smile forming on her lips. "You're about to find out." As if on cue, her neural implant buzzed with a simple message. Hold position. Reinforcements inbound. Commander Calyx looked at her questioningly, but Ilara merely shook her head and mouthed, "Wait." Another explosion rocked the station, closer this time. Atmospheric alerts changed from warnings to critical alarms as sections of the station began to decompress. "Your reinforcements will arrive to find nothing but debris, Ambassador," Vex stated confidently. "The Centauri Nexus will be destroyed, along with this station and everyone on it. The age of the Coalition is ending." Ilara checked the chronometer on her implant display. "Actually, Emperor, I believe it's the Meridian Empire that's about to face extinction. Humanity unleashed." The void beyond the Coalition station suddenly rippled, space itself seeming to fold and distort. Where there had been only stars moments before, massive silhouettes now blocked their light. Angular, brutalist shapes that resembled no known ship design in Coalition or Meridian fleets. Emperor Vex's confident expression faltered as he moved to the chamber's viewport. What trickery is this? The Meridian vessels surrounding the station, previously in attack formation, now scattered like startled prey as the newcomers emerged fully from whatever dimensional pocket had concealed them. Dozens, then hundreds of ships materialized, a fleet to dwarf both Coalition and Meridian forces combined. That, Ilara said with quiet pride, is the Earth Defense Force. Each vessel bore the distinctive blue and silver insignia of Earth, but their design was nothing like the primitive ships humanity had contributed to Coalition efforts. These were Predators, sleek and deadly, with weapon systems already powering up along their hulls. Kalex stared in disbelief. Impossible. Earth doesn't possess this technology. Correction, Ilara replied. Earth hasn't shared this technology. The station shuddered again, but this time not from an attack. The environmental alarms suddenly silenced as emergency force fields stabilized the damaged sections. A new transmission cut through all channels. Meridian vessels, this is Admiral Helena Reyes of the Earth Defense Force. You are engaged in hostile actions against Galactic Coalition assets. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded or be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to comply. The voice was calm, professional, and utterly unyielding. Vex's silver skin paled to an ashen gray as he watched his ships being systematically targeted by weapons that shouldn't exist in this part of the galaxy. You've been hiding your true capabilities, he accused Ilara, his amber eyes now dim with fear. We learned from history, Ilara responded evenly. Humanity nearly destroyed itself multiple times before reaching the stars. When we joined the galactic community, we decided to keep certain advancements in reserve, just in case we encountered species like yours. Outside, the Meridian ships that failed to comply were being methodically dismantled. No dramatic explosions, no debris clouds. The Earth vessels fired precision weapons that simply disabled drives, weapons, and life support systems without destroying the ships themselves. What kind of weapons are those? Kalex asked, his reptilian features unable to hide his astonishment. Graviton disruptors, Ilara explained. They create localized gravitational anomalies that tear apart specific systems while leaving the rest intact. We developed them for asteroid mining originally. A new alert sounded from the communications array. Ilara accessed it and turned to Kalex with renewed urgency. The stellar cradle has begun its activation sequence at the Centauri Nexus. We have less than 10 minutes before the hypernova is triggered. Kalex growled in frustration. Even your advanced ships can't reach the Nexus in time. Ilara smiled. They don't need to. She activated her neural implant again. Admiral Rice, the weapon at Centauri Nexus is active. Implement firebreak protocol. Acknowledged, Ambassador, came the immediate reply. Firebreak units already in position. Vex laughed bitterly. You're bluffing. The Nexus is 18 light hours from this position. Even with your impressive fleet, nothing can travel faster than. His words died as the main view screen activated, showing a live feed from the Centauri Nexus. The massive stellar cradle orbited the system's primary star, its honeycomb surface now glowing with building energy. But surrounding it were 7 smaller vessels of Earth design, positioned at precise intervals. What you're seeing was recorded 18 hours ago, Ilara explained. Earth has maintained stealth observation units at every strategic point in Coalition space since we joined. Not out of distrust for our allies, she nodded to Kalex, but in preparation for threats like this. On the screen, the Earth vessels began emitting a coherent energy field that enveloped the stellar cradle. The weapon's glow intensified, then suddenly imploded, collapsing in on itself in a controlled gravitational crush that contained the destructive potential before it could trigger the star. Centauri Nexus is secure, Admiral Rice reported. Meridian weapon neutralized. Third Fleet reports minimal casualties. Throughout the chamber, Coalition representatives who had been cowering in fear now stood in stunned silence. The Meridian guards, seeing their empire's plans unraveling, lowered their weapons one by one. Vex alone remained defiant. This changes nothing. Even with your hidden fleet, you cannot stand against the full might of the Meridian Empire. Our core worlds remain untouched, our production facilities have already been neutralized, Ilara interrupted. Simultaneous with our fleet's emergence here, Earth strike teams deployed to every major Meridian military installation throughout the galaxy. Your shipyards are disabled, your weapons factories offline, and your planetary defense systems under our control. She stepped closer to the Emperor, her voice dropping to ensure only he could hear her next words. And we've also isolated and contained the central matrix, where your consciousness backup is stored. This body may be a vessel, but it's currently your only vessel. For the first time, true fear registered in Vex's amber eyes. How could you possibly have accomplished all this? We've had spies in Earth's government for decades. Yes, you have, Ilara acknowledged. And they reported exactly what we wanted them to see. A young species struggling to adapt to galactic politics, hampered by internal disagreements and technological limitations. Meanwhile, United Earth worked in the shadows, preparing for scenarios exactly like this one. Commander Calyx approached, his massive-scaled form towering over both human and Meridian. You deceived the entire coalition, he stated, but there was more respect than accusation in his tone. Ilara turned to face him. We protected the coalition. There's a difference. By becoming exactly what you claim to fear, a species with hidden power and secret agendas, Vex spat. No, Ilara replied firmly. By recognizing that trust must be earned, not given blindly. Earth has never attacked a coalition world, never conquered an unwilling population, never threatened galactic stability. We built our defenses and kept them hidden, hoping never to need them. She gestured to the viewport where Meridian ships were being systematically disabled. Today proved we were right to prepare. Calyx was silent for a long moment, his ancient eyes studying Ilara with new appreciation. Finally, he spoke. The Coalition Council will have questions. Many will fear Earth now. Let them ask their questions, Ilara replied. We'll answer truthfully. And as for fear, she glanced at Vex. Perhaps it's better to be feared by enemies and respected by allies than to be underestimated by both. The station's internal communications suddenly activated. Attention all personnel. Earth Defense Force boarding teams have secured all critical systems. Medical assistance is en route to your location. Please remain calm. Ilara's neural implant buzzed with a private message from Admiral Reyes. Meridian fleet neutralized. 67 vessels captured intact, 29 self-destructed before we could disable their core systems. Ground teams report success at 84% of targets. Primary objective achieved with minimal coalition casualties. And just like that, the balance of power shifts. Vex murmured, watching as Earth Marines in powered armor entered the chamber, their movements precise and disciplined. It was always going to shift. Ilara told him. You simply accelerated the timeline. The Marine commander approached and saluted Ilara crisply. Ambassador, the station is secure. Admiral Reyes requests your presence aboard the flagship to discuss next steps with coalition leadership. Ilara nodded. Thank you, Commander. Please ensure Emperor Vex is secured for transport to Earth. He'll be our guest until new arrangements with the Meridian worlds can be negotiated. As Vex was led away, Calyx fell into step beside Ilara as they walked toward the docking bay. Your people have changed the galaxy today, he observed. Nothing will be the same. Change was inevitable, Ilara replied, watching as coalition representatives were being treated by Earth medics with technology clearly beyond current galactic standards. But I believe it can be changed for the better. And if the coalition fears this power you've revealed? Calyx asked. Ilara stopped and turned to face the veteran commander. Then they should remember what we did with it when the moment came. We didn't conquer. We protected. Outside the viewport, Earth's fleet had formed a defensive perimeter around the station, their hulls gleaming in the light of distant stars, sentinels of a species that had hidden its strength, but not its conscience. The galaxy will debate for generations whether we were right to conceal our capabilities, Ilara continued. But today, those capabilities saved millions of lives across Coalition space. I can live with their judgment. Kelex's scaled lips curved into what might have been a smile. As someone who has led armies for 3 centuries, Ambassador Chen, let me offer one observation. Throughout galactic history, power has changed hands countless times between countless species, but rarely has such power been wielded with such precision and restraint. The docking bay doors opened before them, revealing an Earth shuttle waiting to transport them to the flagship. Its sleek design and advanced technology no longer disguised beneath primitive coverings. "Welcome to the true face of humanity, Commander Kalex," Ilara said as they stepped aboard. "We come in peace, prepared for war, but always hoping for better." Behind them, Earth's fleet had already begun the work of restoration, repairing the damaged station, treating the injured, securing Meridian prisoners. The galaxy had glimpsed humanity's strength today, but more importantly, they had witnessed its character. The stars would never look quite the same again. The end.